So, hello everybody, it's Lilia here from Heal Scotland and Scotland's Wild Medicine. I'm very excited and honoured and delighted to have Sigmar Berg with me here, the creator of the Love Tuner, which I've been banging on about for weeks now. Sigmar, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me.
Lila, thank you so much for having me on your show, and we appreciate what you're doing. We like your activities, and yeah, let's get into a nice conversation.
Yes. Well, for me, I think the I've been banging on howling at the moon for probably 4 decades now, around the human being, the feelings, the thoughts, the feelings, and the kind of energetic side of the body that certainly in the West, certainly here, has been kind of ignored. So when I met this young guy at a festival recently, and he told me that he'd had a visitation from a tree during a light and sound therapy, no plants, just light and sound. And the tree had said to him that you have to get the message out to humans that their negativity and their, is affecting the plant and the animal kingdom. And if you can get enough people into 528, they will heal and so will everything around them. Now, I'd seen the Love Tuner popping up in my feed, and I thought that sounds interesting. Then when I bought Leonard's 528 book and then I found you, I was like, it's like a dream come true. And it's just so funny that this young guy who didn't know anything about frequencies, when he got this message from a tree, which might sound crazy to some people, but probably not to you and I, and that this was the thing. And I thought, so that's when I was like, if we can get enough people tuning in, then we're going to see change, right? Whatever that change may be. So before we get into that, can you just tell me, because I know you've had a pretty interesting life and not doing anything to do with making little flutes, 528 flutes. So just give us a little bit about your journey and how you came to this creation.
Yeah. So, I mean, first of all, the story, what you told me about this DJ and understanding music and vibration, that's actually the key of everything. So my background I was never like I mean, I was always a spiritual person, but it was not my profession. I could care less about the so-called esoteric world. It didn't make much sense to me. I believe in God. I believe that we're all connected. And I had a normal job. I was an architect. I was a designer. I started a fashion company. So I was living a very fast life, successful life. But to a degree, I always knew that the actual temple is nature. So this was my connection to spirituality. I didn't talk much about it, but it was very profound. And when I relocated to the United States nearly 20 years ago, I started meditating. I got my so-called whatever spiritual hygiene. I paid attention. I became more mindful. And then I did a guided meditation, sound meditation, but not through like YouTube or through any music, through a pure speaker where they played the original 520 hertz frequency. And it was a combination of breath work, took 50 minutes. And it was the deepest experience I had at this point when it came to meditation. And this frequency literally touched my heart because that's what it's doing. It touches people's hearts. And for me, the combination of breath work and sound healing was so clear. And when we developed this product, I said everybody should have a love tuner because it's the shortest way to get out of your head and get into your heart. So, and this is all esoteric nonsense aside, it's a physical reaction. And this is why it was something that literally brought me on my own spiritual journey, because I saw what it means, if you follow this frequency and if you understand the connection of humans and frequency in general, because everything is frequency and vibration. And if we understand that we're exposed to so many negative frequency every day, in and out, our cell phones, our Wi-Fi's, whatnot, And then we're also listening to the wrong music. So because the musical scale got changed. So there's a lot of stuff out there that makes sense. And this has nothing to do with spirituality. That's just physics. And if we understand that we are vibrating and that we react to vibration in a good or bad way, then if we have this understanding, why not align to a positive healing frequencies that can connect hearts and overcome separation? And this is why the 528 hertz frequency is so important to unite humanity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think as a mission Heal Scotland, I've always said it's like we need to stop fighting and bickering amongst ourselves, and we need to unite to create this new earth that we all so desperately want to live in harmony with each other and with the planet. And the Heal Scotland's Wild Medicine, the book that we wrote, is about reconnection to nature. We now that I understand the 528 and the kind of green everywhere, Scotland's obviously very green, and you're like, that's why you're feeling it. When you see it, you don't even actually need to be outside. You see it through the car and the drive here. It was just like, wow, it's so amazing. And it's the relationships, isn't it, with each other that seem to cause most of the grief. Would you agree with that?
I think so, because for me, it's always important to look into the smallest cell that we have, and this is, your relation with yourself. Then it's the relation in your family, and if you're not in tune with yourself, so if you don't know what is in resonance with you and what is in dissonance with you, you cannot even vibrate on a harmonic level. So it always starts with the journey within. So make aware of what is good for you and what is bad for you. And this is, again, that's not spirituality. It's just consciousness. It's just like being aware, being mindful. And if you start watching yourself over a certain period of time, you can adjust certain functions and you can adjust certain behaviors. And when you use a tool like the Love Tuner, it just makes it easier for you, because maybe we explain it real quick what it actually is. It's this single fluid. You do a conscious breathing break. You arrive in the here and now, and on a spiritual level, you invite love in your life. So the frequency of love. And that's all we need. And this takes you out of your head into your heart. And all the big decisions in your life should be made in your heart, because we are firing about 75,000 thoughts a day. We all know that a lot of them are crap. And a lot of them are influenced by whatever society does, whatever we are exposed to. And if we understand that we just need this moment of no mind, like I always say, like we always talk about mindfulness, I always said mindless. If you can empty this out for a couple of minutes, either in a meditation or in this case with the frequency where you basically retune yourself, then you come to a better understanding about yourself. You get into the state of balance and relaxations, and you just make better decisions. And I know for a lot of people that sounds already so woo-woo, but that's just what it is. It's just physics. We vibrate, vibrations hits us, and this affect us. So if we understand how we vibrate, what is in dissonance, what is in resonance with you, and we are starting consciously to vibrate higher, because this is what we can do. Negative thoughts bring you down. They have a frequency. Positivity brings you up. And you can balance this yourself. If you want to be tangled up, and this is why I talk a lot about this, also about gossips. People don't pay attention, like it's negativity. Gossip is super negative. And it doesn't do any good, and I see this even in my friendships. The real friendship lasts because there's no gossip. As soon as gossip is involved, that messes everything up, because the spoken word has a lot of power. And if you have a spiritual hygiene, and you can make aware of that this is really on the outside, has nothing to do with you. And this is why gossip makes no sense. Gossip is really, really bad. And these are the small things that you need to adjust. And if you do this, then you come to the point and say, listen, what is I'm really in charge of? I'm in charge of my breath. I'm in charge of my frequency, my vibration. That's the only thing you're in charge of. You're not in charge of the vibration of another person. You're not in charge of their thoughts, and you're not in charge of their spoken word. The only thing what you can do is to regulate what feels better for you. And sometimes, like especially in our society, when everything is about social media, talking about nonsense, that keeps us occupied. And this is why we are so separated. We don't go to the core, we don't allow to act out of our heartfelt, because if we really go into our heart, we will see one thing: hearts are always curious. They want to connect. And when you go into a room and you meet other people and you really consciously are out of your head into your heart, you will see how curious your heart is to connect. The only thing what really separates us is intellect. And the intellect can be many layers. It can be a political thing. It can be religion. I mean, this is the worst thing to all of us. It's we need to believe in God because there's something bigger. And the temple is nature. And this earth was created on frequency and vibration. And whatever we do to get us distracted, to get us preoccupied by living the real core authentic life that we should live, this is just the separation that happens within us, and that's the separation we see in our society.
100%. And, I teach a thing called the Sedona method, and we look at 9 emotions, 6 of them being contracted and negative, and the top 3 being more expansive and solution focused. And so that made I'm always talking, raise your vibration by coming out of the contracted states. And what I found with this, I don't know if you found this, is that actually even just touching it, it's kind of like, I know this is going to, it's almost like my body knows as soon as I touch it that I'm going to change my state. And I'm finding that I hardly even need to blow it sometimes through the day, because it's almost like that little talisman. I just know it's there. I know what's going to happen. Sitting in the traffic there, looking to see how long it was going to take to get me back, and just blowing this. Because there's nothing I can do. There's wall-to-wall cars. I can't change it. I can't control it. And I just take this out and play now. And I think this is just genius.
Yeah.
Sorry,
go ahead.
One of the most exciting things that I feel as well is for kids. I was taking my grandkids to school. It was their first day back after the holidays. And my granddaughter was like a bit, she's like, will you come in with me? And I was like, you nervous? And I just take this out, and then she's like, oh, I feel that straight away. So what an amazing thing for it, because with teenage anxiety at crazy levels, and also teaching them the resilience, you can change that instead of thinking you're a victim of your emotions. What a phenomenal tool to be able to give them. It's just genius.
I mean, like with what you just said about children and basically like kids that go to school. So we run a program through our foundation, and it's basically focused on kids in elementary school between 8 and 10 years old. And we did this for many years. This was actually the beginning of the company nearly 10 years ago. We went into public schools and also private schools, and we've been teaching basically mindfulness through the Love Tuner. And the results have been extremely positive for us. So within not even a year, but within a semester, we eliminated bullying in all classrooms where we have been teaching the love tuning, and the teacher did this for us. We got better grades, and the kids have been more focused, and they have an understanding of community. So, like there's in every classroom, there's different kids. Obviously, some are good friends, some are a little bit distant. And every teacher told us this within the 6 months where the kids have been tuning every day for 5 to 10 minutes before school started, they became closer. Not best friends, but they accepted it. You know what I mean? And this is exactly what we need to do. We will always have our personal preferences with whom we want to hang and with whom we want to be, friends with. But if you have a positive vibration, so imagining going through a city. When you go through a city, how often you are offended? I mean, we also have our our judgment running, all day long. We see something, we are old enough, we have many, many layers. Kids, for example, have way less layers. This is why they're so open to mindfulness in general. And the reason I did this is because we saw the positive impact. But I was also reading about Dalai Lama when he said, if every kid with 8 years would know how to meditate in this world, we would overcome war within one generation. And this is really what it is, because our separation is made up. It's just made up. It's an illusion. And if we break through this illusion, and if we understand the frequency and vibration thing, and if we understand why 528 hertz was so big in the church itself, for example, the Gregorian choirs have been chanting on 528 hertz for many centuries, and then suddenly they disappeared. And it was the first institution was actually the church that discovered this power of this frequency. Then it got changed in the medieval, it got changed before the Second World War by Adolf Hitler. It got then changed by the Rockefeller Foundation. So basically we changed our musical scale. And our A tone was for many, many centuries 444 hertz. When you put the A tone to 444 hertz, the C note is 528 hertz. And by putting it to 440, the C note disappeared. I mean, the C note is still there, but it's not 520 hertz. So why do institutions put so much effort in changing a musical scale if we want to unite humanity? No, we want to, not we, but the system was separated. And then comes a lot of nonsense out there. In the 80s, when Dr. Leonard Horowitz, a professor from Harvard, basically reintroduced the 520 hertz frequency because it's not a man-made frequency. It's a cosmic frequency. It occurs in every living matter. It occurs in the humming of the bees, the chlorophyll of our plants. When you put a plant amplifier on there, it's exactly 520 hertz. That's also the reason why our plants are green, because 520 hertz on the color spectrum is green. So there's so much connectivity to the creation, to nature. And I mean, you guys, John Lennon wrote Imagine in 528 hertz, and he knew about it. It's since over 50 years the most successful and prominent love and peace song in the world. There's a reason. There's a lot of knowledge out there. And I wanted to go back to Dr. Leonard Horowitz in the 80s when he started actually this movement again and this consciousness about 520 hertz and what happened to us. Shortly after, a new movement started with 432 hertz, but it has no relevance. The thing is, and if you research it, it was just to basically separate the frequency tribe. And they talk about the tone of creation. It does not matter. 432 hertz was never occurring anywhere. It was never hidden. And 528 hertz was over hundreds of years, of thousands of years, a healing frequency. And if we understand this, and this is what this young DJ friend of yours said to you, it's just like, if you understand the power of this tone and you create music in this frequency, you create harmonious healing music. And it doesn't even sound different. It's a little bit sharper of a pitch. And a lot of DJs that I know that make electronic music are now starting to play music on 520 hertz because it just connects people. They can still dance to whatever it is, techno, trance, you name it. But it's a completely different experience because you feel the music on your heart level. And when you dance with people, it's a tribal experience. You really connect. I mean, we have done this for hundreds of centuries. You know what I mean? This is who we are. Humans, we are not a separated entity. We want to connect, and especially now in the times of social media, we have so much disconnect in general, because these devices we are on have bad frequencies, and instead of using social media in a way of really connecting, not sitting at home, following your friends, what they are doing and what other people are doing and people you don't even know are doing. And it's just a complete illusion. It's important to understand, yes, I use this tool, but why can I not use it for real connections?
Mm-hmm.
And if we understand this, then technology is never the enemy of humanity. It's just how we use it, and we don't want to go back. I would never ever give this up. This gives me my freedom to work in the way I'm working, and we're old enough where we remember where we didn't have cell phones, where we didn't have everything, one click away. But still, I think it's important to be conscious about where humanity stands when it comes to technology.
Excuse me, I've just got a tickly cough. Typical. No, I totally agree. I think, have you noticed the difference? Because when did you create this? Let me just grab a drink of water, will you, as well, so that I don't cough when I'm not meant to. So yeah, how long ago did you create this, your first love tuner?
So the love tuner is now out like a little bit more than 10 years. And it was a slow, steady process. And for me, it was more important to prove this tool. Meanwhile, we have a lot of people out there, copycats from breathing straws that don't do much. You can use like a plastic straw from Starbucks. It does about the same. We have copycats out there. I mean, our product is patented. We have so much knowledge behind it. We wrote a coaching program. We teach people what it even means, frequency and vibration. We have our school programs. We have suicide prevention programs. We work with veterans. So we went really into research first. We have seen what frequency can do to your brain. We did a lot of brain search scans before and after tuning. We even exposed people to the power of the love tuner that have never been tuning before. We did testing groups, 20 people meditating that have been meditating for a long, long time. We have 20 people that never did any meditation, no spiritual hygiene, just using the tuner. And we give it a try. This was when we started out, and then we measured their brain waves with a bioresonance feedback machine, and the result was identical. So the people who meditated or the people who did love tuning, the only difference was meditation was 20 minutes and love tuning was 6 minutes. So like people did their breathing cycle. Like I'm going to show it real quick. I don't know if the microphone's going to pick it up. So you inhale through your nose, you exhale to the tuner. And you try to extend your exhale with a low audible tone. And then you inhale again through your nose. We recommend 6 cycles, but you can do it as long as you want. You can go in a deep state of meditation, or it's a quick fix. Like you have been in the car and all like stuff comes up, you're stressed out. You just tune, because what it basically does, it gives you immediate relaxation. And
that is fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because so many people, including myself, struggle with meditation sometimes. So it's just so much easier to, and I think that's why it was such a huge thing in the West. But what I wanted to ask you was, because when I found you, and I thought, right, I'm like messaged 3 times. I want to be a wholesaler, and then I thought, well, wait a minute here. Will people actually want them? I mean, I'm excited about it, but are we at a time where people can understand and they'll not just be going, what's that mad hippie doing now? Have you seen the change in the last 10 years? You must have done, in terms of people understanding and opening up to this kind of thing.
So we had at the very beginning, we had a channel message from an indigenous chief up in Canada, and he gave us a number back then. And what I recall, it was like 86,000. It was under 100,000. And when we sold the first, like I would say 100,000, I remembered what he said to us. And it really became a shift, and for me, it's like, I mean, this became so normal. This is my daily to-do thing. So for me, it's like life without 528 hertz or without the love tuner, it's very hard to imagine. But the most beautiful thing for me is if I have doubters, like I have a lot of friends, they are not that spiritual to begin with, and also their profession is not like, they cannot open up their shirt and suit and tune in front of a board meeting. But I'm always really happy when these people tell me, hey, listen, I don't know what this thing exactly does, but it helps me. And I wear it under my suit. And before a meeting, I go outside to the restroom or wherever, I tune. And love is my secret weapon. I'm more focused. I make better decisions. And this makes me happy. So because it's really a physical reaction, and the magic of the 520 hertz. I mean, listen, we believe in so much rubbish, whatever pops up on social media, whatever we see, medication, this or that, food, we jump on it. And when it comes to opening up your heart, suddenly we become skeptical. You know what I mean? We go out and I mean, I don't know how bad Scotland is, but the United States is horrible. People never go for the solution. They always go for the Band-Aid. So this is why medication is so huge in this country. Nobody reflects about, hey, maybe I should not eat this and I don't have to take that. So it's always about like, convenience. And I always say, like, you trust something where you basically know that it will kill you in the long run, or at least it doesn't make you healthy or not healthy, and you're not skeptical. But if it comes to getting out of your head into your heart, you suddenly shit your pants, like you go like, oh. And the funny thing is, a lot of people make fun about it, but at the end of the day, they are so captured in their small mind, and they complain about life and they complain about how hard it is, but they're not willing to make any change. So for them, it's always the same thing, like they come home, whatever their rhythm is and whatever they like to, all the way to, have your cocktail of the day to ease out or getting completely shit-faced. It's just like people have so many modalities to avoid what is really going on, and I always see it, the people that are the most skeptical are the ones that need it the most and they're the most scared of, because if you go into your heart and if you drop everything, at one point you see what's really going on. And if you understand that you cannot, nobody can change anything on the outside, you can only change yourself. And this is just the hardest thing. And this is not, and I mean, I was not born as the spiritual person. I had a very normal life with all the ups and downs in life, with family, business. So I understand life, and I've seen a lot of my friends, struggling with drugs, alcohol, or just life in general. It doesn't need to be that traumatic all the time. But I can tell you from my experience, if you really start looking inside, you awaken. And this is just like, I mean, I always reference Carl Jung. He said, if you look on the outside, you become a dreamer. If you go inward, you awaken. And this is just a step you need to do. And Love Tuner is one easy tool for people who have no time, don't want to research stuff. Just give it a try, and you will experience yourself. And this is what I can promise everyone to use the Love Tuner is, it will help you to find yourself. It will, recenter yourself. And when you can sit by yourself and you breathe, and you know that you're in full on control about yourself only and nothing else, you know what's going to happen in life? Things going to come towards you because you're not on the outside. You're breathing. That's the key of life in general. Like the first thing we do, we come into life, we take a breath, we leave this earth, we exhale. And in between this time, the breath is our biggest regulator and our biggest enemy, our biggest friend. I call it, because this is what we can play with. And I think what your longing is and my longing is to literally get this awareness out there, take the fear out of people, and make them just like open to to the people they meet on the street, experience. And if you get out of all the negativity, as much as it is around us, you will have that. And this is why I believe in the love tune, and this is why I have seen this when we sold like the first 100,000. What a shift it happened, and it has a shift every day. And people write us emails about how their life changed. For me, I read now this email like, oh yeah, for sure. But when I started, I was, oh my God, this happened to this person, this happened to that person. Now I'm like, well, yeah, that's what happens, And this is why the power of 520 hertz is so massive. And this is like the longing that we all have to connect, and what this DJ told you, what he saw in his vision, especially through a tree. I mean, this is also connected, because trees are connected, the vibration of a tree. And he's absolutely right. That's what it is. This thing will unite humanity. And it's not about destroying structures, It's just like, because every structure that we have is a human structure. And every human, what is in there, has a heart. And we just need to have the courage to go inward and on the outside connect with each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's so simple, isn't it, when you look at it from a vibrational perspective? It's just like, well, if you all have the courage, the willingness to tune in, all the problems and the suffering could dissolve so quickly. And I know that you see that too, and that's why I'm so excited about it. But can you tell me a little bit about because there's obviously very practical places this will work well in schools. If you have an open-minded, I sent it to my nephew and he said, that sounds amazing. I said, right, I'll keep you in touch. He's head of nurture for Argyll. But what about veterans? Because that's another place, what did you see there?
With the veterans?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so first to go to the schools real quick. So we saw, for example, that the kids are completely open. It's mainly the teachers, and we are working with another foundation that uses the Love Tuner for their purposes, and they have a program. It's called Educate the Educator. So because so many teachers are not willing to change their way, and so it starts basically mindfulness for the teachers, and then they spread it in the classroom. So that's actually something what I think is a great thing. But it's kind of sad too, because we have those kids, they're willing, and then we have teachers, they're not willing. So it's a little bit of a drama on the other hand. And with veterans, it's something, everything that has to do with a trauma. You can do therapy, you can do medications, whatever helps you. But most importantly is that you understand that real trauma is captured on a cellular level. So you can talk about it as much as you want. And this is why, like a suicide prevention, veterans program. I would even go all the way to jails. It's like, if you don't understand that the healing is cellular, you can sit with your shrink day in, day out. All the addiction programs, you can sit there day in, day out and talk about that you're an alcoholic or have been an alcoholic, whatever it is. But the more you repeat it, the more it becomes kind of a mantra and will never, ever let you go. But if you start healing on a cellular level, what the Love Tuner basically does, because it's vibration, then you can heal. Then you can point it out. It might be even in a way that you cannot describe what is happening to you, because the cellular healing happens by doing it. It's not like, hey, we are now healing on a cellular level. You will feel it. And this is what you need to do. It's like the understanding that every cell in our body captures memories, and every cell in our body reacts to frequencies. So if you understand the healing on a cellular level, it works everywhere. It works with veterans, it works with children, it works with addiction, it works with suicide prevention. And I could send you hundreds of emails of people that even have been thinking about suicide, for example, and then they went back and tuned. Or we have one story actually from Santiago de Chile. It's a team writer from us, and she told me a story she had a client that she was working with, and he was highly suicidal. And she sent him a love tuner and said, please do me a favor, try this. And I mean, the last time I heard about this person was in November. And yeah, his thoughts about suicide disappeared. And, and,
Wow,
and
because in Scotland we've got very high rates,
yeah,
and especially in the islands. So it's it's kind of crazy to think that something this simple can be so powerful. But I mean, I know it is. My own experience, even since I started tuning, I'm like, it's like all my dreams are coming true. They were maybe going to come true anyway, but I'm like, wow. And I was having these like waves of ecstasy. It was so, and I was like, can this be happening from this little baby here? It's crazy how
yeah,
just how I think it's the simplicity of it. Because I mean, I say this all the time. We're always hoping that somebody with 10 PhDs is sitting in a laboratory somewhere trying to figure out, the solutions to all our problems. And then you come along with something like this, and I would think that the hardest thing is going to be to actually convince people that it's a possibility. And then if you can just get them to do it, and I want my grandkids to have it. There's so many people. You're like, what a beautiful gift to get. It's just thank you for creating this.
thank you. Yeah.
So in terms of, you said, so there's a coaching program which I'm very interested in, but also what else are you up to over there that we can copy?
Yeah, so I mean, listen, the whole thing with simplicity of healing is like what the tuner is doing basically. So it's a simple tool, and it does not need to be, you don't need to be spiritually educated, you don't need to be intellectual, you don't need to follow a guru, you don't need to read books about it. You just need to get the manual out and how to do it, and then it happens. And I even created a slogan like within the first couple of months when we started this company. I said, with the love tuner, you can become your own guru. And this is basically what we want.
Like that.
Because, a lot of people are following many, many leaders, thought leaders, coaches, and I mean, open up the internet. And we had the luck to work with a lot of them. But I have to tell you, and this is not like, pointing fingers on anyone, but it's a lot of talk. It's a lot of empty talk. And at the end of the day, it's very hard for people to integrate this in their life, what people are talking, because it's like, I can tell you, do this, do that, look at your nutrition, meditate, go to this seminar, follow this guy. There's a lot of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's all from the outside. And I know it's very excited because, retreats all the way to plant medicine, you basically give the guide to someone else. You are not in charge. You are not the pilot of your life.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
and yes, it might not be so exciting that somebody gives you a love tune and tells you good luck or just go on, because people always want to have something more. You know what I mean? They need somebody to hold their hand. But, spirituality is not about holding hands. Spirituality is not about, following gurus. It's not about listening to endless conversations about spirituality. It's about doing it. It's about living it, and I always say what my grandmother said, grand-grandmother actually was said to me. She said one thing. She said, when I was excited as a little kid, she said, take a breath. And that's really the regulator you need to do, and we all are not doing it, because we just like, our thought is so fast, and the next one and the next one. And we want to have a quick fix, even if it's calling a best friend, if it's calling a shrink. Nobody wants to sit with something that really bothers you, and nowadays we have so many ways of getting distracted. But the best thing, if you want to heal, if you want to, and I don't even say healing, if you just want to have a good life, we don't have to say that everybody's hurt and we need to heal. Just to have a good life, to have an authentic good life, you need to take it in your hand. And love tuning and frequency healing and 528 hertz is all about self-empowerment. Don't give your power to anyone. Your life is your life. and there's nobody else. You come alone in this life and you leave alone. And in between, we need to do the best to have a positive impact on humanity, and that we are smart enough to look through the structures that are actually hindering us for living a fulfilled life.
I know you are absolutely speaking my language, because I tend to work with people who have been given bad news by the allopathic system. And it drives me insane. I'm like, why are you just taking on these beliefs given to you by somebody who's got such an outdated version of what the body is?
Yeah.
And you're allowing somebody else to predict your future. I mean, how much power can you give away? Your whole life.
Yeah.
And we're just looking actually at setting up this centre where it's like, well, you can try something else. Do you want to try? Or do you want to just be hopeless?
Yeah.
Or do you want to actually think maybe there's another way? Well, somebody's got to try. And it's so fascinating why we want to do that. Because I even say that to people that come to me, I can't fix you. An hour a week with me, what's that going to do? Yeah, I can make you feel better. I can guarantee that. But then you've got all the rest of the hours by yourself. You have to take control. We have to. And I think what you were saying there about, in terms of I'm starting doing this series of talks on cancer and cancer treatments and choices and other people's reaction to your choices and all of that. And, I'm like, you need to learn to go in to the intelligence that is the body and find out what are the right choices for you, which will be completely different from somebody else, based obviously on a lot of different things. And we've lost, because we've been so terrified about our bodies. People are angry at their bodies for doing, what they perceive to be the wrong thing. They have so much fear that actually tuning in, I'm just thinking this is going to be an amazing tool for me as well, to help my clients to really, so what feels right for you? So that you make the choices, not me. Because why you just go from oncologist to me, asking me to fix you and help you and make your decisions, when in actual fact, everything you need is inside you if you can just quieten yourself. And this is a really simple, powerful thing that everybody can do. And I've always talked about that from a Heal Scotland perspective. It has to be inclusive. You can't be saying, well, you need to have this amount of money, you need to have this postcode, you need to have this watch, this handbag, you need to buy all these supplements and all, it's like, no, just quieten down and tune in.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, like if people want to shop and have a luxury life, whatever rocks their boat, that's one thing. But what I think, and this is the most important thing, and especially after the pandemic, it became very clear, where you stand. You're either a sheep or you're a wolf. That's very simple, and there's no explanation about it. And we have been working with some prominent figures in the well-being industry, and they talked all about body, about the food, yoga, whatever you need to do, meditation. And then comes pandemic, and a year later, you go like, hey, scan your QR code for the pandemic, for the COVID shot, to participate in my seminar. You go like, really? Like, really? And this is something, by this time, it's just over. It has no meaning anymore. You're really that of a sheep, and you're that about money. So and this is but this is the responsibility for people to figure this out. You know what I mean? If you talk about healing your body, being conscious about your body, being mindful, and on the other hand, you represent the pharmaceutical conglomerate, and you tell people to scan your QR code to go to your seminar, really, and to listen to spirituality. So what did you get? Is it probably you just want to make a lot of money from those people, and you give them very mixed messages that they still listen to this nonsense? And this is exactly where our industry is right now. There's so much blah, blah, blah out there, but this is what tuning is. Tuning is not blah, blah, blah. Tuning is beyond the spoken word. You sit with your frequency, and if you understand it correctly, you can raise your vibration. And that's all it needs to happen, because you have higher vibrational experiences. You have bad experience in your life. You have bad experiences in, like in your job and whatnot. It's just like you need to be open to it. But it also takes a courage, and it also takes some intellect, that you really go like, okay, let me count 1 and 1 together, and don't be so dumb, basically, like. And I know it's very hard, because when you raise your frequency, you see things differently, and sometimes we would like to hold on to what we always have been believing in, for many, many decades. And sometimes to see something new, understanding something new, it's very hard to let the old go and go like, oh, I was fooled by this system, I was fooled by.
Absolutely. It's the ego doesn't like to admit it's wrong. Exactly. Let me plug in this laptop. Sorry.
Work with a bunch of companies that integrated the Love Tuner into their mindfulness program. And the second is like a lot of yoga teachers are doing it, because they're giving special yoga classes where it's a combination of light yoga movement and then tuning and just creating more awareness about like, the power of the heart, and creating heart coherence, because this is what we're all achieving for. And in this coaching program, you'll learn all this. It's basically, it's a roadmap to frequency, vibration, and sound healing.
Yeah, I definitely need to do this. I'm absolutely down the rabbit hole with the whole thing. I'm loving it. It's so fascinating and so exciting. But again, I was just thinking there about single parents and not single parents. I mean, having kids the way we live now is pretty stressful. So that's that'd be a really nice gift to give to a mum or a dad who's finding it, just instead of a glass of wine, you can just tune yourself in, and you can just probably just keep it in your mouth for the next 16 years.
Yeah, it's also like, now is the time, we're getting into the last half of the year, and holidays are coming up, and we all have everything, and with the Love Tuner, it's something, basically you gift the gift of love, and it doesn't matter if a lot of money, because the product itself is $72. It's handmade, not handmade, but it's a high quality. It's made out of stainless steel, surgical steel. So it's a really well-made product, and it's not that expensive. So it's something to really gift easy. And every family that tunes together, it changes stuff. And even if you have a smile on your face and go like, really, this little whistle gonna help me? Just do it, because it's so powerful, because it aligns your water molecules in your body. It's a physical reaction. The vibration goes to your entire system, and it even goes out of your body by 8 foot, where it's like 2.5 meters. So, like you basically create the sound carpet around you when you tune with your partner, with your family, in a school class, with a therapy group. You are connecting into this frequency carpet. And whatever happens in this frequency, that's real healing. That's cellular. That's vibrational. And if you give it like 30 seconds after the tuning, then it really sinks in, because, the power lays in the silence.
Yes. Oh, wow. It's just, the potentials are really endless, aren't they?
Yeah.
As more and more of us go into 528 in this really simple, easy way for pretty much every single person to achieve. You don't have to have any skill set. And as you say, most people can afford that. And what a lovely gift to give. I mean, I'm already like, oh yeah, that'd be good for her, it'd be good for them, It's crazy. And the other thing, I don't know if you've done this, but I've played it to a couple of new babies, because there's a lot of babies coming into our family, and they look, and it's like a wee petted lip. It's so fascinating. And we were laughing at my friend's wee boy, because she was like, do it again. And the same thing happened. This wee face, it's like, wow. Because obviously they're completely clear, right? There's no mind coming in there. It's just, they're just absorbing the frequency.
It's even with in pregnancy, it's super powerful. So I got a lot of feedbacks, when, I mean, obviously the baby is exposed to the same frequencies as the mother. And as soon as they started tuning, and especially because it's in the womb, it's in water, it's like this is the whole concept of tuning, because
Yes.
like our body is 75% to 80% water, and what the 528 hertz does to a water molecule, this is happening in our body. So
Yeah.
blood is 91% water. And if you look at our homepage on lovetuner.com, you will see an experiment what we did under a microscope. And that's actually not our experience. I mean, we did it again, but Emoto wrote a book. It's called The Hidden
Yes. Hidden
Secrets of
messages in
Water.
water.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, and it basically shows how water reacts to bad words, to bad music, to harmonic music, and also to the 528 hertz frequency. And under the microscope, when you play 528 hertz, you will see a clustered water molecule gets perfectly aligned into the original hexagonal water shape, like the crystal
Yeah.
shape. And so, and that's all physical, that's not woo-woo. It's really happening. It's happening
Yeah.
inside your body.
It's measurable, absolutely. Yeah, and we can disrupt these beautiful harmonic states, with our negative thoughts and our gossip. So
Sure.
that's the message I think that's really clear. And you think, well, thou shalt not judge. That's the reason why, because you're actually disturbing your own beautifully harmonic crystalline structure.
Absolutely, and I think also like coming back to whatever happened in the pandemic, it was also a wake-up call for humanity.
Yeah,
And you made a very clear decision where you stand. And as we know that everything's gonna be good, and if it's not good, it's not the end. Like it's we know what's happening. We're going into the golden age. It's time. This is our shift. And nobody said it's gonna be easy. And especially before it gets better, it gets even more crazy, because otherwise, if there's no rupture, people will not move. There's no need to move. And if you see,
absolutely.
and if you see 5 years after this pandemic, how much discussion will be out there, how many cool people out there that literally have an opinion, that have followers, millions of people, and they spoke out against the system. So I think it was actually a great thing. You know what I mean? It's like it out of the gray will become black and white. You can see very clearly where you stand.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. On hindsight, you can look back and you can see that quite clearly now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, listen, well, that's absolutely fascinating. And again, thank you. I'm sure I need to get you back on because this is going to evolve and develop. And it would be amazing to get you to Scotland. My friends are already like, can you get them to come to Scotland? I said, well, yeah, I think if we create the right event, we can definitely lure them over here.
I'm happy. I'm
See,
happy to come, honestly. And it's like,
yes.
so what I say, like we talked about the coach, and it's online on our page on lovetuner.com. You can do an online test, and you get a verified Love Tuner coach. But what I always encourage people, I published a book. It's called One Journey, and it's an easy read. It's about like 180 pages. I really encourage people to go through this book. It's not only about Love Tuner for 180 pages. It's all in there what we just discussed, the spiritual laws, our musical scale, and it's about the deeper understanding. I think that's key
Yes.
to get educated to.
Yeah, I've got the book, and I think that's handy because you can go back over and read it again because you forget some parts and your brain takes in other things at different times. Yeah, and I think much as you don't really need the science, it's actually really cool to have it because you can explain things and it can drop into and make people encourage people to use it. So I think that's very helpful. And I've been kind of ploughing my way through Leonard's book, which is pretty heavy going, but I've picked up a lot of incredible stuff from him as well. It's been amazing. So yeah, 528, let's vibrate at 528. That's the new t-shirt.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for your time. And again, apologies for me being late. And I hope to talk to you again really soon. Thank you.
Lilia, thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Ciao, ciao.